Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Kerry. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet a beach hat. The beach hat was a request, and as I wasn't quite sure what they'd want on their beach hat, I've made a few different designs. When made in 8-ply wool, this large one, the size is 19 centimetres by 12 centimetres or 7.5 inches by 4.5 inches. Made using 4-ply crochet cotton, this one here, the size is 13 centimetres by 8 centimetres or 5 inches by 3.5 inches. I'll be using 4-ply crochet cotton, and because I'll end up with 3 hats, I've got 6 different colours, and I've also got sewing thread and a needle to stitch them together, a 1.5mm crochet hook, a darning needle to weave in the ends, and scissors. Now I'll work my beach hut in these colours. I'm going to start at the bottom of the hut part. So using my main colour, I start with 21 chain. For row 1, I miss the first 3 chain and work 1 double crochet into each stitch to the end. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. For a double crochet, I put the yarn around my hook into the stitch, so the 4th chain from the hook, and bring through a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with this yarn at the end through the first 2 loops, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through the next 2 loops, and that's a double crochet. We need 1 double crochet into each stitch to the end. Now that's row 1 done. For row 2, we start with 3 chain and turn our work, and we work 1 double crochet into each stitch to the end. Now that's row 2 done. Rows 3 to 12 are worked the same. We start with 3 chain and turn and work 1 double crochet into each stitch to the end. So I'll continue working until I get to the end of row 12 and I'll be back. Now I've finished the first 12 rows. Now we're going to start the decreasing. So for row 13 we start with 3 chain and turn our work, and we're going to work a join double crochet over the first 3 stitches. For a join double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with this yarn at the end through the first 2 loops. Then yarn around the hook, hook into the next stitch and bring through a loop, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through the first 2 loops. We've got 3 loops. Then yarn around the hook, hook into the next stitch and bring through a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn at the end through the first 2 loops. We've got 4 loops left, yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. And that's our join double crochet over the first 3 stitches. Then we work 1 double crochet into each stitch to the last 3 stitches. Now I've got 3 stitches left and I work a joined double crochet over the last 3 stitches. Just the same as I did at the beginning of the row. And that's the first row of decreasing done. For row 14 we start with 3 chain and turn. We work a joined double crochet over the first 3 stitches. Then we work 1 double crochet into each stitch to the last 3 stitches. And work a join double crochet over the last 3 stitches. For row 15 we start with 3 chain and turn. We work a join double crochet over the first 3 stitches. 1 double crochet into each stitch to the last 3 stitches, and work a join double crochet over the last 3 stitches. For row 16 we start with 3 chain and turn, and we work a join double crochet over the first 3 stitches, and a join double crochet over the last 3 stitches. And for row 17 we start with 2 chain and turn, and we work a joined half double crochet over the 2 stitches. For a joined half double crochet we put the yarn around the hook, hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, hook into the last stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, and take the hook with the yarn through all the loops. And that's the front of the hut done. We're going to work a neatening row now. We start with 1 chain and we work 1 single crochet into each stitch down the slope for the roof. A single crochet is a double crochet using UK terms. So just find a suitable place to put your hook not too far from the edge and work a single crochet. And don't pull it too tight, it will pull your hut in and it won't sit flat. Now into the stitch just before it starts to decrease, we work 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet. And then down the side we work 1 single crochet into each stitch, and into the corner stitches we'll work 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet, these corner stitches here, and 1 single crochet in each stitch along the bottom and the side, and then just before it starts to slope, this stitch here will work 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet, and then a single crochet in each stitch up the slope. So I'll continue working my neatening row, and I'll be back when I get near the end of the row. Now I'm back to the beginning of the row, so I slip stitch into the top of the first stitch. For a slip stitch I put my hook into the stitch, bring through a loop and take it straight through the loop on my hook and fasten off. And that's the front of the hut finished. I'll just weave in that end and I'll be back to put the roof on. Now I'll work a white roof again. What I do is I work chain to go from about there up around the roof and down for a bit of an overlap, and I crochet through the chain and through the slope. I always work a few more chain than I think I'll need, so I'll start with 40 chain. Now I miss the first 3 chain and work 1 double crochet into each of the following 2 chain. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. Now I start working through the chain and through the slope. So my first double crochet is worked into the next chain and I join into that stitch there, just where it starts sloping up. So I put my hook through the chain and hook through that stitch and bring through a loop and work a double crochet, and I continue like that up the slope. Hook through the chain and through the next stitch on the hut and work a double crochet. And just continue working through each chain and then the next stitch on the hut up to the point of the hut. Into the point of the hut we work through a chain and into the point of the hut, and then we work through the next chain and into that same point of the hut. And then continue back down the slope, working into one chain and then the next stitch. and then just work into the last stitch before it starts sloping, and then work 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 chain, work 2 chain and slip stitch into the same stitch as your last double crochet and fasten off. And then just undo any remaining chain. It's better to have extra chain than to have to redo the whole roof because you haven't got quite enough. And then pull it tight, and that's the roof done. For the door, I'm using my red. I start with 10 chain, for row 1 I miss the first 3 chain and work 1 double crochet in each stitch to the end. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. Now rows 2 to 6 are worked the same. We start with 3 chain and turn, and we work 1 double crochet into each stitch to the end, but I've only been working into the front loop of the stitch. So this stitch here, this loop here, I work my double crochet into it. That just makes it have a smoother finish. But if you wanted to work into both of the loops of the stitch, it would turn out like the front of the hut. So 1 double crochet into the front loop only of each stitch to the end. That's row 2 done. Now rows 3 to 6 are worked the same. 3 chain and turn, and 1 double crochet into the front loop only of each stitch. So I'll continue working the door, and I'll be back when I finish row 6. Now I'll finish the 6 rows. Next I work a neatening row right around the whole piece. So I start with 1 chain and I work 1 single crochet into each stitch down the first side. A single crochet is a double crochet using UK terms. into the corner stitch I work 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet, and then I continue working 1 single crochet into each stitch along the bottom to the corner stitch, and then I work 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet into that corner stitch, then work a single crochet into each stitch up the side, and then 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet into this corner stitch, and then work a single crochet into each stitch along the top. So I'll continue on my neatening row, and I'll be back when I get near the end of the row. At the end of the row we join with a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. And fasten off. And that's the door done. Now I'm going to work some bunting on a hut. I'll work probably the 4 across. Now I'll be using this hut for my bunting, and I'll use grey for the string to put it on. So I leave a bit of a tail at the end, and I work chain to fit across from between the bottom of the roof there and the bottom of the roof there. I'll just do another couple just so that it hangs down a little bit, and then I fasten off, leaving a bit of a tail. I'll use the tails to attach it to the back of the hut. So there's the chain. Now I'm going to try to work my little flags evenly across the chain. I'll leave a couple, probably 3 at the end, and then each flag takes 3 chain, and then I'll probably leave 2 in between. So I might just leave 2 chain at the beginning and then join into the next chain. I'm going to use blue and red bunting. So I join my cotton and I work 4 chain, and then I work a joined treble over the next 2 stitches. A joined treble would be a joined double treble in the UK. So yarn around your hook twice, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop. Yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn at the end through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook through the next 2 loops, then yarn around the hook twice, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, hook through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, take your hook through 2 loops and yarn around the hook, and take your hook through the remaining loops and fasten off. And that's the first little flag. Now for the next flag, I'm only going to miss one stitch this time, so I'll join into 2 stitches from the end of the last flag. I'm using red this time, and I work the flag the same. I start with 4 chain, and then work a joined treble over the next 2 stitches. And fasten off. And then I'll miss one chain and start working another blue flag in the next stitch. So I start with 4 chain and work a joined treble over the next 2 stitches. And fasten off. And then I miss one stitch and work a red flag next. So I join my red in the next stitch and work 4 chain, and work a joined treble over the next 2 stitches. And fasten off. And then I miss one stitch and join my blue into the following stitch. And work another flag the same, 4 chain, and work a joined treble over the next 2 stitches. And fasten off. And there's space for one last red flag. So I've missed one stitch and joined my red, and working 4 chain, and work a joined treble over the next 2 stitches. And fasten off. And there's the bunting done. It will look much better when all the ends are fastened off. Now I'll work this little red heart now just to go above the bunting. So I make a magic loop. For a magic loop I put my hook on the yarn, bring the short end over the hook and then take the long end over the short end, put the yarn around my hook and bring the hook with the yarn through the loop. And there's my magic loop. Then into my circle I work one chain and work one half double crochet. A half double crochet is a half treble in the UK. So yarn around the hook, hook into the circle and bring back a loop. Yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. Then I work one single crochet and then one half double crochet, work 2 chain and I slip stitch into the circle and then work 2 chain and one half double crochet, one single crochet and one half double crochet into my circle. Then I pull my circle tight, so I take hold of the tail and just ease it in as tight as I can and slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. And fasten off. And I've got a little heart. For the flagpole, I join my cotton in the top of the roof. I'll use grey this time. And I work 8 chain. And then I work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. That just gives it a little bit of a rounded top. And fasten off. And that's the flagpole done. I'll just weave in the ends and I'll be back and we'll add the flag. Now for the flag, we join our cotton in the 3rd chain from the bottom. And work 5 chain. We miss the first chain and work 1 slip stitch in the next chain. Then work a single crochet into the following stitch, a half double crochet into the next stitch, and then work 2 double crochet into the last chain. And then slip stitch into the flagpole just under your single crochet there near the top. And fasten off. And that's the flagpole done. Next I'm going to work this small round window. So using my white, I make a magic loop and work 2 chain, and then I work 14 double crochet into my circle A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. We pull the circle tight and slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. For row 2, we start with one chain and work a single crochet in the same stitch as a chain, then work one single crochet in the next stitch and 2 single crochet into the following stitch. And we repeat that right round the row, one single crochet in the next stitch and 2 single crochet in the following stitch to the end of the row. And at the end of the row we slip stitch in the top of the first stitch and fasten off. And I'll need to tighten that circle a bit more. And that's the window done. For the Lifebuoy, I'll be using the white and the red again. To start, we make a large magic loop and we leave a long tail at the end. So like that. And we start with one chain and work 5 single crochet into the circle. Then I join in my contrast colour, my red, and work 5 single crochet. And I'm crocheting over the tails and my white. Next I start using my white and work 5 single crochet into the circle. And then using your red, you start working 5 more single crochet into the circle. just pull it up a bit, and then using your white, work 5 single crochet into the circle. And then lastly we do another 5 single crochet into the circle using our red. And then take hold of the tail from the beginning and just ease the circle in. And slip stitch in the top of the first stitch. And fasten off. And then you'll just need to pull it in even. Now I'll weave in all the ends, and I'll have to make another hut to attach the window to. Then I'll be back and we'll put them all together. Now here's my pieces. I've got the hut, the round window, the door, the Lifebuoy, a heart, and the bunting. Now the first things I'll do is embroider the doorknob on the door, and I'll embroider the markings on the window. The next thing I do is stitch the door to the bottom middle of the hut, and then I'll be back with 2 other huts to attach all the other pieces. Now there's the 3 huts with the doors on. The next things I'll do is attach the Lifebuoy just in there, about halfway from the top of the door to the roof, and the same with the window, just about there. And for the bunting, I attach it by the ends just under the roof there. I won't actually stitch the bunting down, I'll just attach the ends, and then lastly I'll attach the heart just in the centre there, and then I'll be back to show you the finished beach huts. And there's the finished beach huts. If you've liked my video, please like, subscribe and share. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Twitter. The details are in the description below, along with the details on my website where I have my patterns, the details on my Facebook group and the details on my Patreon. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.